Greetings, everyone. Matthew Kraemer here with another exciting Mocktails as we gear up for one of the biggest concerts of our season. Actually, 3 years in the making. This program was originally intended for March 2020, but we are delighted to be joined on this program by composer, conductor extraordinaire Michael Shapiro. Michael, good to see you.
Great to see you, Maestro. Thank you
You're,
for having me.
oh, we're delighted that you'll be with us as well for this performance. I have to say, your discography is very impressive. A composer of symphonies, operas, chamber music, concerti, choral works, and your work also in film. Now, this program has gotten a lot of interest by our patrons. Frankenstein, the great classic 1931 film, which famously had no included film score attached to it. This work of yours is now over 20 years old. Maybe you can talk to us a little bit about how your film score came to be.
It was written in 2002 for the opening of the Jacob Burns Film Center, an adjunct theater to the Film Society of Lincoln Center in northern Westchester, which has become the hottest place for Ang Lee and Spielberg, and all the great directors have their premieres here instead of elsewhere. They're all on the board. It's an incredible theater with multiple theaters doing what we used to call art movies, but they do classic films too. So for Halloween 2002, I wrote the film score to the sound film Frankenstein of 1931, James Whale directing, a great classic that few people really know. I had seen it originally on something called $1 Million Movie, which was on Channel 9 WOR in New York, growing up as a kid in New York City, and they played horror films. And we watched it, my brother and I, 8 times in 1 week because they would repeat it every day. And Bride of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, House of Frankenstein, Wolfman, Dracula, all the sons of and brothers of and sisters of. But I noticed for years that the original score was lacking in James Whale's first film. Bride of Frankenstein has the great score for Franz Waxman, which I've conducted, but not the first film, which is a serious movie. Bride of Frankenstein's like a campy romp, but not the first film. The first film is a classic and it's brutal. It stars Colin Clive, great actor with the most beautiful baritonal voice, and Boris Karloff, who at that time was unknown, so unknown that he did not get invited to the opening. Only Colin Clive did. And then he became world famous. And you see why, because you feel for the monster. He is the other. And that's what attracted me to it. The other, treated as something separate from people, made from dead parts. But he's got a soul. How did he create a soul? And it's just the most amazing film. So for me, as an opera composer, as a theater composer, somebody who believes in dramatic music, oh my heavens, this is a 1-act opera. It takes 75 minutes of continuous action and beauty and horror and tension. So it was great. I just wrote a score and it came out of me real quick, and we wrote, and it since has garnered almost 60 performances worldwide. 60. Norway, Germany, Italy, UK, Russia, Canada, and now first time in Indiana by your great orchestra and you great maestro. So I am thrilled.
Oh, we're thrilled, Michael. I love the reference that you gave in 1935, I think, Bride of Frankenstein with Franz Waxman. And, we have done, I'm a big fan of the golden age of Hollywood film composers, and, Korngold, Max Steiner, Waxman, of course, that these were all European immigrants who came as trained classical composers. I mean, like yourself, as I mentioned your discography, that they came with stage experience from opera and incidental music as well. And they created the sound, but not only the sound of these Hollywood film scores, the musical scores themselves contributed considerably to the emotional impact of the films. And so here you are now with this classic 1931 film with no film. What about the decisions that you were making, as these great composers have done for decades? Of watching this, having your own impression of how you didn't have a director to work with or a producer, you were making these decisions on your own.
Well, Maestro, we know each other. We're friends. So when I speak to you, it was with warmth and happiness to see you and joy. And our music, our underlying music, has a certain direction and impetus and warmth. But when I first met you, my music would have been formal, because I first meet you, as I meet the staff of the ICO. And it's formal, but as I get to know people, because I love people, it changes the music. So it's the same thing as the monster is walking across the film, or Dr. Frankenstein is walking the opposite direction. Sit down, sit down. What's the music that's underlying this? It's just like opera. And there are very few composers that can write dramatic music. I had this conversation with Stephen Sondheim about it. He says, I can't understand writing songs, like art songs, but I can write in a dramatic setting. So if you understand that and you're really into it, which I am, it then flowed. So the different scenes call for different kinds of music, as you found in preparing the score.
Oh, I love that. But no further ado, let's take a moment here to hear the overture. I'll let you set this up because this is you conducting, Michael. I mean, as I mentioned before, you're not only an accomplished composer, but a brilliant conductor as well. This is the overture. Why don't you set this up for us?
This is performed by the great City of Birmingham Symphony, which Simon Rattle had for 25 years. And I conducted them right after Andras Nelson's left for Boston and Mir hadn't yet taken over. So I got them in the middle, which is kind of like being a substitute teacher in a class of rowdy sixth grader. But I had a date with them and I recorded my second symphony and the overture. And the overture to Frankenstein, the movie scores before the movie comes on, which you'll conduct. And it contains within its 3 minutes, many of the themes and contrasts of the film score itself. So here it is.
The overture to Frankenstein.
The movie score.
Michael, thank you for sharing that with us. We look very much forward. As I mentioned, this is a program that we canceled regrettably right at the start of the pandemic. We had moved it around several times, thinking that we would be right back. And like so everyone in the world. We were very disappointed that it didn't happen when it was originally scheduled, but here we are now with you visiting us and sharing the hall with your great film score. I do also want to mention that this work of yours continues to evolve. Tell us a little bit about the addition of to voices to the score.
Well, there are 4 versions: 15 player, which you're going to do; the full orchestral version, which you hear in the recording, which I did with Virginia and other places, and the City of Birmingham Symphony in UK. And then there's a 3rd version for wind ensemble, which I did with the Dallas Winds. It premiered at the Meyerson Symphony Center in Dallas. I conducted the great Dallas Winds. And recently I conducted the LA Opera in the premiere of the operatic version, same 15 players you're doing, but with 5 singers from the LA Opera program there, the Young Artist program. They were amazing. We did it at a theater called the United Artists Theater, which was built by Mary Pickford and Charlie Chaplin in 1927, 4 years before. It's a wild place. We sold out all the performances, and we had an incredible crew. They also had drinking, which was good. And it was a lot of fun.
And there's a video of you on YouTube, I think, actually setting up the cue for that as well, a promo for the viewers, given they can see beautiful pictures of that theater as well. Do you think there'll be a 4th or a 5th version of the film score in the future?
Well, no, I don't think so, because I'm writing right now. I'm orchestrating my 3rd opera, The Sleigh, based on Isaac Bashevis Singer's great novel, with a libretto by Hannah McDermott of the Met. But no, Frankenstein, the movie opera, is going to be getting its East Coast premiere at the Atlanta Opera next season. And then 2 years from hence, it will be getting its Swiss premiere at the greatest orchestra in Switzerland. All of this can't be announced, but I'm doing it here because I love you.
Michael, thank you for sharing that, and congratulations. I mean, it's remarkable. I mean, not only this work, but all of your works and where they have taken you and your music across the globe. Many, many accolades to you, Michael. And we look forward to welcoming you to Indianapolis. As you said, the Indiana premiere of Frankenstein. If you don't have tickets, now is the time to get them, because I can tell you we're very close to selling out, some 3-4 weeks now from the program itself. So please jump on this immediately. Come visit the ICO, this great performance, and meet the composer, acclaimed composer, Michael Shapiro. Michael, great to see you and have you with us.
Thank you.